Our topic today is your iPhone camera made simple. Oh, Today we'll walk through the iPhone camera app and explore simple features that can instantly improve your photos. So today we'll be learning about how to navigate the camera app, what each mode does. So modes are like photo, video. There's also a couple others that we'll cover. Hidden helpful features and simple tips for clearer photos. So to open the camera app, simply tap the camera app. It looks like this photo below, or you can also swipe left from your lock screen. But I'd not recommend doing that because sometimes if you like customize your lock screen, your camera app like isn't going to be there. So yeah, I just recommend not using this lock screen because sometimes it also doesn't save your photos. Yeah, and you can press and hold the camera icon as well. Understanding camera modes. Okay. So photo, this is your standard mode for everyday pictures. Video records videos with sound. Portrait mode, blurs the background to highlight your subject. Um, Pano or panorama captures wide landscape or group shots by sweeping your phone across. I'd recommend not using Pano too much because, like, even for me, it's actually pretty difficult to do a full panorama photo, and it's not really that useful. And then cinematic, this is on newer models and it records video with a soft background blur and focus changes for a movie-like effect. So this makes it look like more professional. But one like thing to note is cinematic mode. It actually uses a lot more, not a lot more, but it uses more data than just regular video. So if your phone, if you have a slightly older phone and you've taken a lot of photos and your data is filling up, um, cinematic mode might like fill it up even faster. So yeah, that's something to take note of. And you can swipe left or right to actually change the modes. Each mode is designed for different types of photos or videos, helping you choose the best setting for the moment you're capturing. So first we have photo mode. This is best for everyday pictures. There's tap to focus and adjust brightness. These are two features that we're going to cover a little bit later, and they make your photo look better. And here it says photo mode is the standard camera setting used for taking regular still pictures of everyday moments. It's your default setting when you open the camera and tap the screen to focus and slide your finger up or down to brighten or darken the picture. We'll be going more into detail what that actually means. Video mode records moving moments. You tap the red button to start, and then you tap it again to stop. Video mode is used to record sorry, moving moments with sound like events, conversations, or action. Tap the red record button to start recording and tap it again to stop. And you should hold your phone steady for smoother results. Panorama or pano is for wide landscape photos. You should slowly move your phone sideways and there's going to be like an arrow in the middle. You need to keep it on the line. Panorama mode is used to capture wide scenes, such as landscapes or large group photos that don't fit in one frame. Slowly move your phone in the direction shown on the screen while keeping the arrow aligned for best results. And again, I wouldn't really recommend this. I think a video is a lot easier to take because for this panorama, you have to, hold your phone very still. You have to move it. Like if you move it too fast, then your phone is going to like tell you to move slower. If you move it too slow, yeah, it's just like a hassle to do. It's pretty difficult also. So I wouldn't recommend this mode. Okay, here's the tap to focus feature on like iPhones. You can tap the subject on the screen, and then when you tap that subject, so first of all, a subject is like who you're capturing. So maybe it's a person, maybe it's like a tree or a bird, and then a yellow box will appear and you can click lock focus, and it basically tells your phone what in the picture you want to be like the main focus, and it will apply like a small blur to like the surrounding area, so it really makes that subject pop out. And this is the adjust brightness. When you tap, you can also like tap screen, and then there's going to be like a sun that pops up, and you can slide it up and down. So this is done to like if your photo it feels too bright or too dark, you can adjust. The technical term for this is exposure, and you can adjust that with the sun slider. And yeah, it just basically controls how much light is coming in. So yeah, use it accordingly to the environment. And even this is a little advanced. You don't really need it. And this photo on the right, it shows how you can also adjust the brightness like after you take the photo. But yeah, I'm not sure if that, I don't think that's covered in this presentation, like all these settings you see on the right. Maybe we could do that in a future presentation. But yeah. And this is another great tip. You can use this thing called the grid for better photos, and you have to turn it on in settings. And basically, it creates like this 3 by 3 grid you can see in the bottom right corner. And yeah, it basically wants you to keep like the subject of your photo in like the middle. And yeah, it improves the balance of the shot and also helps you align it. So the grid is a setting that places lines on your screen to help you line up and balance your photo. It's used to follow the rule of thirds, which makes pictures more centered, natural, and professional. Um, Next, we have live photos. And if you have an iPhone, you'd probably notice that when you're looking in your photo gallery, which is where all your photos are, it's like a lot of the photos, it looks like they like move for like 1 second. Yeah, this basically captures movement, and you can turn it on or off at the top, and you can also edit that later. Live photos is a feature that captures a few seconds of movement and sound before and after you take a picture. It's used to bring still photos to life by capturing small moments like smiles, waves, or motion. Note that this is on by default, but it also takes up like some extra storage because it's basically a really tiny video. So it's good in some cases, like the smiles and the waves, but in other cases, it's usually not that useful. So I'd recommend turning it off if you're a little low on storage. Zooming tips. Avoid too much digital zoom and move closer if possible. Use optical zoom if available. So for these first 2 points, the idea is that if you're like zooming into a like subject, then the subject's going to be more blurry the more you zoom in. So it's almost always better to just walk a little bit closer so it's less blurry. And the difference between digital zoom and optical zoom is that digital zoom is just like your phone manually zooming in and like basically cropping the photo. And optical zoom is actually like the phone camera actually like it's like this like pretty complex thing, but it's basically physically changing the um yeah, one moment. Okay, yeah, it's physically changing the camera, so it's basically like more detail. So when you use optical zoom, it won't really like hinder the quality. And yeah, too much zoom can reduce photo quality. If you can step closer instead. Next, we have cleaning the lens. So you want to use a soft cloth and also avoid scratching the lens. And you also want to clean regularly. A quick wipe of the lens can dramatically improve clarity. So if you haven't cleaned your camera lens in a while, I'd highly recommend doing that. It's going to make your photos like less like hazy sometimes and just like look better in general. Finally, you want to hold your phone steadily. So use two hands, brace elbows, and sometimes lean against something. Steady hands prevent blurry photos, especially in low light when the camera needs a little more time to capture the image. If holding your phone steady is difficult, you can use a tripod, which is in this top right image, which is a three-legged stand that holds your phone still while you take a photo. Phone tripods are small, lightweight, and usually cost about 15 to 40 US dollars or 20 to 55 Canadian dollars, depending on the brand and quality. Some flexible tripods can even wrap around railings or objects for creative angles. By flexible, it means like if you see like the three legs on the bottom of the top right image, like they can basically like fold in a way so it can like latch onto like any object. Using a tripod is especially helpful for night photos, group pictures, or self portraits. So a lot of tripods they come with like this little remote. So let's say you want to take a family picture somewhere, you can basically prop up your phone and then with your remote you can basically press a button and after like well, you can choose how long, but after 3, 5 or 10 seconds, it's going to just take a photo so you don't like if you want to take like a photo of everyone in your like family, that's usually how most people do it. Yeah. Using the camera timer. So this is actually what I was just talking about. It delays the photo for a few seconds and it's great for group photos and also helpful for steady shots. The camera timer is a feature that waits a few seconds before taking the picture after you press the shutter button. It's useful for group photos, selfies, or when you want to set your phone down without rushing. And if you aren't aware, the shutter button's like just a white circle in the middle, which you press to take photos. How to turn on the camera timer. So you want to open the camera app, stay in photo or portrait mode. Tap the small arrow at the top of the screen, or on other devices or older models, you can swipe up. Then tap the timer icon, which is a clock, and it's shown right over in the top right image. Choose 3 seconds or 10 seconds. Press the shutter button and get into position. After you press the shutter button, the camera will count down and then take the photo automatically. This helps prevent blur from pressing the button and gives you time to get into the shot. Night mode. So this automatically turns on in low light environments. You should hold still while capturing because in this case, if you don't hold still, sometimes like the lights will become a little blurry. And then adjust the timer if needed. Night mode helps brighten dark scenes, but you must stay still for a few seconds because of the thing I just told you about like if you start moving, the lights will basically like blur. So okay. And then editing your photos, you want to open the Photos app, tap Edits, and adjust brightness, contrast, and crop. Even small edits can make your photos look much better. Um, I don't think iPhone has this yet, but on some Android phones, there's like a feature to automatically have like the best edits of your like photo with all these settings. It automatically like figures that out for you because yeah, adjusting this by yourself is like usually pretty difficult, or it's not difficult, but it's hard to make it like look good. So yeah, common mistakes to avoid. First, finger covering lens, too much zoom, and shooting into bright light. Small mistakes can reduce quality, but they're easy to fix once you know what to watch for. Okay. iPhone camera versus regular camera, pros and cons. So by regular camera, it's talking about like your standard like Sony or Canon camera, the like big physical ones. Small mistakes can reduce quality, but they're easy to fix once you yes, this is from the last slide, but um first we have iPhone camera pros. Um it's built in and it's no extra cost if you own the phone. All modes included. Um your phone is always with you. Photos save automatically, easy to edit and share instantly. Cons include less manual control, smaller sensor. So basically, iPhone cameras are like, they're like pretty small, but like these regular cameras, they have a much larger sensor, so they can include a lot more detail in the photo. And also, your battery drains while using the iPhone camera. Okay, regular camera pros. First, you get higher image quality, especially in low light, more manual control, interchangeable lenses on some models, better zoom capabilities. Regular camera cons. First, they obviously are expensive, $300 to $2,000 USD. You must carry it separately. Photos need to be transferred to phone and computer, and there's a big learning curve for settings. So, like the initial photo is pretty easy to take, but if you really want to take full advantage of this expensive technology, then you have to like learn a lot of things about photography. So for like seniors, I'd like recommend the iPhone camera because yeah, you probably already have like a pretty decent like camera in your phone because the newer iPhones or even the older ones like they're still like extremely good and it's not that big of a difference between like iPhones and regular cameras. Yeah. So this is basically summarizing what I just said. The iPhone camera is convenient, easy to use, and already included with your phone. All features and modes are built in at no extra cost. It's perfect for everyday photos and quick sharing. A regular camera can produce higher quality images and gives you more control, but it costs money, requires extra equipment, and takes more effort to use and manage. So, final takeaways. So, in this lesson, we learned how to explore modes, keep lens clean, practice regularly. The more you use your camera, the more comfortable you'll become. Your iPhone camera is powerful and easy once you know the basics.